The ability to use text inside Substance Designer is a very cool feature that has many material applications. For example, we may be using the procedural nature of Designer to create UI elements for a game or ArchViz project, or simply wanting to add text as a decal to a surface. But whatever our need, it is much easier to be able to use the text tool now as opposed to having to import a custom bitmap that was created in another application. Making sure we are focused on the number 14 pin then, let's double click the text node, which of course can be added in the same way as other nodes, which is by pressing the spacebar and then typing the word text into the search field. The first choice that we will need to make here is whether we want to create a grayscale or color output for the text, as we can use the text tool to add diffuse color, helpful for decals, or we can, as we are going to be doing in this graph, use it as a mask for the base color and then reuse the grayscale information to create normal map or height information as well. The second piece of functionality that we will want to use is the text field itself. If we click in here, we can use the keyboard to type any text string that we want, and as you can see, our substance graph updates accordingly. Let's set that back to saying linked-in. Just below, we have our fonts drop-down, which reads all of the fonts currently installed on our computer and then lists them so that we can set the font type. So, say Arial, and then, using the second drop-down, choose whether we want a bold, regular, or italic representation. The font size slider, as we adjust it, can be quite sensitive when trying to fit the text into a specific space, with larger values equaling bigger text and smaller values giving us smaller text. The alignment drop-down tells the node how the text should be placed, so center causes the text, as we type, to get extended both to the left and to the right. If we choose left, the letters will be added to the right as we type, and if we choose the right option, they will be added to the left. This again can be very useful if we want to align our text to a specific place in a texture. We can rotate the text via an amount typed into the angle field, after which we will need to hit the Apply Angle option. Or we can of course use the clockwise and counterclockwise preset controls to rotate as well. These also working once we have offset our text via the angle control, given that they will maintain that offset as they rotate. Just something to keep in mind. The stretch controls are self-explanatory, and so I am sure you don't need me to bore you with them, but do be careful when using the ×2 and divide by 2 controls, as they do not update the scale value seen above, leaving us with no obvious indication that a scaling factor has already been applied. Positioning our text is something that may need to be done with precision, and so we have 2 sliders that control both the X and Y position. If we set Y to 0, you can see that in this graph we have used the Y value to center up the text. Finally, we have controls for both the text and background colors. This can be useful when we want to use the text as a mask, as we can set these to black and white for instance. Now interestingly, all the positioning, rotating and stretching of text can also be done manually from inside the 2D view, simply by dragging on the control boxes like so. We can click and drag on any of the corners to change the angle. We can click and drag anywhere in the control box to place the text. We can left click and drag on the small circle to change the center point for the edits. And if we right click, we can even adjust and reset our changes, which is what we will do here. Let's put our Y position value back to 0.03 to realign it with the details in our texture. All in all then, a very powerful node in Substance Designer that can be used in quite a large variety of ways, and all without ever having to jump between applications.